Welcome everyone to Citywide Title Roundtable Fast 5, where we have 5 great questions with special guests talking about a hot topic. And our hot topic today is veterans. What do they know? What do they need to know? What don't they know? And our special guest is Kathy Yonda. She is an outstanding real estate broker with Baird&Warner.
Yes.
Kathy, welcome to the show. Can you tell people really quickly about who you are, how long you've been in real estate, and your passion for it?
Absolutely. So I'm Kathy Yonda. I work in the greater Chicago area, and I've been in real estate for now 7 years. But I'm a proud Marine Corps veteran.
Thank you for your service. This is Veterans Day, so happy Veterans Day to all who have served in all armed forces for our country. You're much appreciated by us in Citywide Title, and the rest of America, I believe so too. Kathy, first question up, and this, again, the focal point is how can we get information to share with veterans so they can take advantage of home ownership. And there's so much to know and so much people don't know about. What do you think is the biggest misconception about working with military veterans and their families?
Huge. There's a lot of misconceptions, but really the biggest one is VA home loan process is so long and it's so challenging. And people look at it as like, oh, the Veterans Administration is going to come in and they're going to do an inspection and they're going to find 50 things wrong with my home and expect me to fix it. But that isn't the case. It really isn't at all. They don't actually they do an inspection, but it's really just part of the appraisal. It's a simple process. And
you as a broker are going to prep them and how to overcome any obstacles they might have before the inspector even comes out, right? Don't you prepare the property beforehand?
100%. And if I have the buyer, if I'm working with the buyer, I actually talk to the listing agent and walk them through what needs to be done as well.
Okay.
I'll say, I noticed this. I noticed we didn't have a handrail. You're going to have to put one up. Things like that.
Excellent, excellent. Now, what other things do you think veterans don't know about buying a home and taking advantage of the VA programs that are available? What are the key things?
So there's a lot of things that veterans don't know. So I will tell you that 3 out of every 10 veterans know that they can buy a home using a VA home loan, which is 100% with no down payment. They'll have fees attached, but there's no down payment. That's 7 veterans out there out of 10 who could buy a home tomorrow, and they just don't even know it.
Wow, so we got to get the message out there, and certainly that's why we're here today, folks, is that, 7 out of 10 don't know that they can buy a home right now with no money down. We got to get that message out there. Next question, can you share a quick tip on how veterans can get started in learning more about the home buying process?
That's an easy one. I wrote a book. Right.
We have that book right here, What It Takes to Be Mission Ready.
That's right, because your mission is to purchase a home or even to sell a home. But the first thing you need to do is is really to find a realtor who knows what they're doing with VA, because VA is not the same as everything else. It's a little bit different. I mean, we have to do wood boring, insect inspections. There's several other things that they need. And so the first thing is find a realtor who knows what they're doing with veterans, and they've worked with veterans. So preferably a veteran who is also a real estate agent.
Okay, and real estate is a very connected and a very interesting industry where there's many people involved in the transaction. How do you counsel and help the veteran with the many aspects of the professional individuals that make up the transactions, like the lender, the attorney, so on and so forth? How do you help and assist and advise on that?
Excellent question, Ken. So the first things we do is we discuss what they're going to be doing, and I put them in touch with a top lender in the area. I always use local lenders. I refer for local lenders because they're the people that you're going to see at the grocery store. So they want to make sure that they do a good job. And I want to pick a local lender and connect you with somebody who has done multiple VA loans, and they know what they're doing, and their team knows what they're doing. The same thing with an attorney. We use a local attorney typically who not only knows what they're doing with VA home loans, but they support they support veterans who are purchasing and selling homes. So they really bend over backwards. But we also have home inspectors who have been veterans before too. They understand what's going to be shown up on that veteran home appraisal. They're going to look for that and say, okay, they might see this. We had one recently where the home inspector went through. He was a veteran. And he said, they might find some termite issues here. So we let them know ahead of time.
So you have veterans looking out for veterans in their specialty and in their field. So I think that creates great cohesion, probably a better outcome. More the veterans that get involved. I think that's very conscientious of you. one of the questions that may come across for some veterans that already own a home, they're transitioning from one home to another. How do you handle moving that situation where there's multiple transactions, a daisy chain, if you will, of events occurring, and how do you advise your clients?
We have to have a good team. That's the first thing, is you really need a good team. You need that veteran lender, and you need a veteran attorney. You need a good team, because there's a lot of moving parts, and that's one reason I have this amazing transaction coordinator. She actually watches everything I do, but not just me. She focuses on everything that everybody does in the transaction, whether it's on our side or it's on the other side. She keeps everything in line, because she sends out a whole lot of emails, right?
Well,
And makes
you
a
gotta
lot
stay
of phone
communicating,
calls,
right?
Yes.
Now, a lot of people put up energy into the front end of the transaction. That's bringing it, if you're buying, finding that first home and getting people to the table and getting the transaction closed, or even on the sell side, depending on which side you're representing. What happens post-closing, and how do you help the veteran?
Oh, we continue to help the veteran. I continue to check in with them. We talked about the fact that we talk about trust and estate planning and those things at the closing table. So we do that because veterans are a little bit different than people who have not been veterans. So there's some different things to take into account. But I always check in with them. And we also put them on a monthly campaign where they're going to see how much their home is increasing in value and how much their loan is actually decreasing in content.
Well, that's
right?
what we want to see, the asset go
Yes.
up and the debt go down.
Debt go down, right.
Well, that certainly keeps them getting engaged, and it keeps it a positive experience. I think that's great. One of the things that, not everything goes smoothly in a real estate transaction. Many do, most do, for that matter. In fact, the vast majority do. But can you describe where you ran into some obstacles in a more sticky type of transaction? What'd you do to overcome those? Can you give us an example of that?
We had one recently where it was actually a Marine Corps veteran. He had just gotten out this summer, and we had the appraisal, and there were a few things that needed done. And we said, look, we're willing to work with you, but we have the buy side, and the buyer in that situation with a veteran home loan, they cannot make any repairs. They can't do that. So we talked to them. We actually got them a contractor, helped them, because I have a referral list, so we can help them get the contractors, whether they're on the buy side or the listing side. And we got all those things taken care of, from the broken window to the koi pond that needed to be filled in because it no longer had water or fish in it. And the Veterans VA appraiser was like, we got to do something with that because it's really kind of just a big hole in the ground. So
I'm thinking some dirt and some concrete, we're ready to go, let's close,
sure
right?
did.
There you go.
We had it done in a weekend.
No, that's what I like to hear.
Yeah.
Overcoming those instances, small or big, I think is very important. And I love what you said about the post-closing information. Most people, being a veteran yourself, and just giving people a grander scope of what's out there, what the challenges to the many, many people that have served our country. How many people really are leaving or exiting the military each year in our country?
About 200,000 people.
200,000 people.
Yeah.
And when they leave the military, are they provided a VA package? This is how you can buy a home, or how do we reach these people? I guess
They're not. I wish
not.
they were, but they're not. And they may have gone to some exit counseling.
Yeah.
But you forget that. I mean, you're like, okay, I'm going to be out in 2 weeks. I'm excited. I
Yeah.
totally forget
I'm
everything.
looking forward to see my family,
Right,
having a cold
yeah.
beer with my best buddy. I can only imagine, right?
And you've misplaced everything when you've moved anyway. So
Right.
it doesn't really matter. It's like, okay, so they don't know.
Okay.
But 200,000, that's a lot of people. Yeah.
Wow, that's
and
great.
they're going to be either moving, maybe they're going to stay where they are, but they're going to have to find a job and they're going to have to take care of their families. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate the work that you're doing. Again, your book here, What It Takes to Be Mission Ready, and talking about getting the information in the veterans' hands right away. I want to thank you again for being on the show, and I want to let everybody in the show. This is a free book, right? 12 veterans,
Yeah.
and they can. For those of you listening today or who are getting this, may share through social media, whatever means possible. We'll be happy to make sure you get a copy of this. If you scan the QR code, hit the end of this QR code, which will be displayed at the end of this, you'll be able to download or not download, or we'll send you a report. We're going to download this, or
You can download it through Kindle. I'll send you a free Kindle version.
okay,
Or you can
a free
purchase-
Kindle version. Everybody, if you don't have that, could we mail it to somebody if we had to?
We could certainly do that.
Okay.
Or it's available on Amazon.
Get the information that you need. If you're in a position where you need to make a decision on a real estate transaction like right now, I would strongly recommend that you reach out to Kathy. Our contact information and email and phone number will be in that QR code. So please reach out, get the information, get the support you need, get the knowledge that you need, so you can get into home ownership right now, or maybe you need to move from one home to another. Kathy's here to help, and she is a veteran herself, and she's here to help you as well. And Kathy, thank you again so much for being on the show today.
Well, thank you again.
Thank you. All take care.